everyone. So this video is going to be about the Google Pixel 6 Pro almost 2 years later. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about. So here's my thing with Google. As the old saying goes, you need to go or you need to get off the pot, right? I don't think they really put the kind of effort into the phones that they need to. Every time one comes out, it seems, and I go way back to the Nexus 3, okay? Every time, and I stopped. I tried the 7 Pro, but I didn't see much of a difference between this and the 7 Pro, so I actually just returned the 7 Pro and I just kept this 6 Pro. It seems though, like when they come out, they have issues. Hardware issues, software issues, and there's absolutely no excuse for them to have software issues because they're the ones making the software. Okay, so I just don't think they take it seriously enough. Even though, and with this phone, this was supposed to be like the turnaround phone, and it came out and everybody was like, you know, and the fingerprint scanner finally works, right? Everyone was like, oh, this is gonna be it, this is gonna be it, and it had issues. Now it seems like right when the 7 Pro is gonna come out, all the issues were resolved. Now, the things that haven't been resolved on it, the camera works great, as everybody knows, right? The video camera, I mean, it's hit and miss in my opinion. I don't think anyone can touch the iPhone as far as video camera is concerned. But picture quality, what I like about it better than the Samsung is that as a person, you know, who has darker skin, I'm kind of like, reddish brown color, right? I appreciate that it captures my skin tone much better than the Samsung phone. I hate the skin lightening brushed feeling of the Samsung pictures, which is why I don't use Samsung phones for pictures. Okay, I use the iPhone, and I would use this for photos. This has really great portrait mode. But again, I didn't see much improvement in the 7 Pro enough to like upgrade. Okay, so I didn't do that. The software on this sucked. Okay, it sucked until about 9 months in, and then they finally figured it out. And that seems to be the theme with all of their phones. Like they don't figure it out until like almost the next one's gonna come out. And then I will say that the 7 Pro did not have the issues I thought that the 6 Pro had. So it seemed like whatever they resolved in Android, they resolved. But the Tensor chip sucks. Like this is heated up on me when I put it on the navigation, have it on the dashboard there, and then the sun is hitting it, and after it'll say like it heats up and you can't use it, and then now you have to go find another phone. I usually carry 2. I was trying to use this as my work phone before I just went to the S22 Ultra. Okay, and then I got the Z Fold 4 after that. I kind of went back and forth. Now I'm on the Z Fold 5. And I almost traded this in a couple of times, but I kind of use it like as a backup. I let my son play with it. He likes taking the pictures. He likes taking pictures and erasing things out of it. Like it's fun in that way. Obviously I put a case on it because he's young and I don't want to mess it, but he's pretty good with electronics. But anyhow, but I just don't think they take it seriously enough. And then some of the software stuff they'll do it for a while and then they'll stop supporting it, right? They need to figure out, they need to stick with something. And they don't seem to be doing that, right? The Tensor chip heats up. I'll navigate with this thing for maybe 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes, and it's already heating up in the back. If I even take video for a little bit, it starts heating up like right away. So I don't know if everyone has those problems, but there's no excuse for it. Granted, it's not as expensive as the other flagship phones. And right now I would say, if you're really into Google, like if you're in the Google suite, you do everything Google, then obviously this is a good phone to have. And I would say this is probably the one you want to get because you can get these cheap, like $350, $300. I see them online, $250, $300, and in good condition. Like this one is in excellent condition because I don't really use it that much. I do use it a little bit, but not like as much as you started using my Samsung phone. But because of the issues, and also the battery life, it's just not there. So overall, I'd say for the 2 years, this is kind of a good, I would say if you want a good, cheap backup phone, this is not a bad option. Like the 6, if you can find a nice 6 Pro somewhere. But in terms of, daily driver, if you're a heavy user or even just a moderate user, you're going to be looking for that charge port. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Again, obviously, if you're hardcore into the Google Suite, which I used to be, but honestly, I've de-Googled myself quite a bit over the years because the unreliability of their phones. I just felt like, I just kind of go with Microsoft. I use a lot of Microsoft Office for work. And it's, with the Samsung phone, the integration with software, it just works better. So, there's that. But I was using this for a while. Again, I go back to Nexus, had a Nexus 3, had a Nexus 4, 5, had the 6. The 6 was one of my favorite phones of all time. Had the 6P, I love that phone too. Did not get the first Pixel because I didn't really like the design too much. And then I finally started to get the Pixel 2 was great. I thought the Pixel 3 was a little awkward, but I kind of feel like they peaked with the Pixel 2, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, I think the 6 and the 6P were great too. Those are probably my 3 favorite of all time that Google has made. But, I like this phone. I wanted to like this phone. I love the way that it looks. I love that it's really light, and I've just put a cheapy case on it. It's relatively durable. It hasn't cracked or anything like that. I mean, unless you're, dropping it without a case, I don't think you need to worry. But as far as Google is concerned, I just don't think they take it seriously enough. I'm seeing issues with like the Pixel, Fold. I think it was Tech Odyssey talked about it heating up on him in the middle of a Zoom call. That is inexcusable for a phone that costs that much. It's inexcusable, period. But especially in this day and age of cell phone. But for a phone that costs $1,800, the Pixel Fold, like, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not messing with Google anymore. This is the last Google phone that I'm gonna own for the foreseeable future. And I wanted to like it because I do like stock Android. But there's no excuses for the software glitches. There's no excuses for the lack of design, software integration. There's no excuse for the lack of software updates compared to Samsung now, who gives you more time on the updates. There are just no excuses. But what is Google? They're an advertising company. They don't make their money off of this stuff. They make their money in other places. So that's why I don't think they really take it as seriously. So anyhow, my 2-year update on this phone is, if you really want a Google phone and you want one on the cheap, I would say the 6 Pro is probably a nice sweet spot to get. You can get one for $300-400. But personally, I would encourage that, unless you're just completely in love with stock Android and you're all about the G Suite, I would look elsewhere if you want an Android phone. And I think Samsung is probably the way to go at this point. And I hate to say that because I really do like stock Android, but there's just no excuses for them. They shouldn't be treating this like a stepchild or, second-class citizen. And that's kind of how they treat their phones. Even some of their software, the lack of support, this Tensor chip is not working out. So, I'm not a huge fan anymore. I used to be all about the Google phones. I love my Nexus 6. I love that 6P. The Pixel 2 is just awesome. But I kind of started to fall off, especially when the Pixel 4 came out and they tried to do that camera thing and it just, in the front, and it just wasn't, I like the phone, it's nice, but it just wasn't really like working out. Like, it just felt like they just kind of dropped the ball on it a little bit. And now with the Fold, with people saying they have problems with it, again, I don't have one, and I'm not intending to buy one, but for him to say, Tech Odyssey to say that it heated up and, he only used it for a Zoom call, like, that's just inexcusable. But again, if you're into it and you really want a good phone, I would say a good solid phone, and you're not a super heavy user and you're really into Google's Android, stock Android, G Suite, go for a 6 Pro on the cheap. And maybe next year when the 8 comes out, the 7 Pros will be pretty cheap as well. But yeah, I think, in my opinion, I'm not really messing with Google anymore just because, yeah, they just need to get it together. They need to figure out if they want to take this seriously or if they want to, like, just put this on the side. But anyhow, that's just my 2-year update on this phone. I don't know if it's probably sounds more like a rant, unfortunately, but I'm not super happy camper with this thing. I got it relatively cheap, so I was kind of lucky, but I can't depend on it. The camera, great. The build quality, the way that it feels, the lightness of it, I love it. But that chip heating up, I can't even navigate 15 minutes without that thing heating up. I definitely can't put it on my my dashboard, like with a phone holder to do navigation, because if the sun's hitting it, it's not even lasting me 20 minutes, half an hour. It's already saying, oh, it's too hot and it can't work anymore. So, there's no excuse for that. But anyhow, I'm probably looking to trade this or get rid of this or sell this somehow. Maybe try to swap it out for something else. But anyhow, that's my 2 years with this. I was using it pretty hard as my work phone for about a good 6 months. And then I kind of eased back on it a little bit. I started using it again, probably a few months after that. So I've used it solid, I'd say, for a good 1 of the 2 years total. But it's kind of been sitting on the bench, if you will, for about a year out of the 2, or how many months I've had it. Came in kind of like a rookie of the year and then didn't really live up to the hype and had to put it on the bench, and it's going to be the G League for this one. The G League. All right. Talk to you later. Hope you're well. Hope your family's well. Take care.